Skateboarding games in the early 2000s were absolutely everywhere. Tony Hawk was at the peak of his cultural relevance, and every publisher wanted their slice of the extreme sports pie. It was a simpler time, a more innocent time, a time when every box art had to look like it smelled faintly of energy drink and poor decisions. Publishers saw Tony Hawk and thought, we can do that. Which is the exact same thought process that created like half of the PS2 library. And then there were The Simpsons, one of the most beloved TV shows of all time. No stranger to video game adaptations, some good, some less good. The Simpsons was so popular that for a while you could slap Homer on a toaster and it'd get nominated for Game of the Year. So, naturally, someone in a meeting said, what if we combined these two things?
Boy, I really hope somebody got fired for that blunder.
And nobody stopped them. Nobody tackled them. Nobody even gently asked, should we not? The result was The Simpsons Skateboarding, released in 2002 for the PlayStation 2. I've recently discovered that this game is considered by many to be one of the worst games ever made. I was genuinely shocked because this was one of the first PS2 games I ever owned. I still have my original copy from back then, complete with my childhood save file on a memory card, a genuine time capsule of questionable taste. So I decided to revisit this piece of my gaming history. Could it really be as bad as everyone says? Or was my younger self onto something that the critics missed? Spoiler alert, my younger self had absolutely no concept of what a good game was. When I first loaded up the game and saw my old save file, I thought this was going to be fun. This was going to be a warm trip down memory lane. And then I realized something crucial. I never actually played the game. Not really. I'd spend hours in the multiplayer mode with my younger sibling. We'd mess around, annoy each other, laugh at the character models doing weird things. Which honestly is the most authentic Simpsons experience this game offers. It's less Tony Hawk and more Tony walk away before somebody cries. But the actual campaign, the main game, I never made it past the second level. So I started fresh. The muscle memory came flooding back. The weird control scheme, the button layout, and the bizarre physics. But muscle memory alone wasn't going to carry me through this. It was actually time to start playing The Simpsons Skateboarding. The game starts with the Skill School section, a tutorial area that's mercifully simple. But even here, alarm bells started to ring. The controls felt clunky. We're talking tank-like steering, except this tank has a rocket strapped to the back and nobody told you about it. In Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, movement feels fluid and responsive. You will feel like you're in control of a skilled athlete. Here, you feel like you're piloting a shopping cart with one wonky wheel down a hill. You'll get where you're going eventually, but it will be messy. The first level we start is a collectathon. Standard stuff. Grab most of the collectibles without too much trouble. Though I did struggle with one particular item because I kept approaching it at slightly the wrong angle. Then I attempted the first time trial, and this is where things got surprisingly difficult. I kept failing, unable to rack up enough points. I figured it was just because I didn't know the right combos yet, so I moved on, and I planned to come back later. The second actual level, Downtown Springfield. It started with another skill school, nailed it, if I do say so myself. I was feeling confident, I was getting the hang of this, but maybe people were just not giving it a fair chance. This is the stage of the PS2 experience where your brain starts bargaining. Maybe the controls are bad on purpose. Maybe I'm the problem. Maybe I accidentally selected left-handed shopping trolley mode. And then came the free skate section. And this is where my optimism died. I started to get genuinely frustrated with how little control I had. The character would snag on what seemed to be invisible geometry. The time trials became tedious exercises in fighting the game's systems. I ran out of time not because I wasn't skilled enough, but because it felt like the game was actively working against me. That was, until I discovered the secret. Just spam grab trips on the halfpipe. Forget style, forget variety, forget actually playing the game as intended. Just spam grabs. And suddenly the game trials became trivial. But I didn't feel like I'd gotten actually better at the game. I felt like I just found an exploit to avoid actually playing it. I pushed forward, collecting various items across the levels. It was more of the same. Difficult for the wrong reasons, but manageable if you knew the tricks. And then I moved into the third level. And this is where my attention really started to wane. Every level was essentially identical, just with a different Springfield location painted over it. Same objectives, same structure, same frustrations, different wallpaper. And then I unlocked Nelson, the first additional character. Achievement unlocked, progress made. Except Nelson started on the first level, with no progress carried over. Everything reset, and I felt my soul exit my body. And then that's where the full horror of this game design revealed itself. To truly complete the Simpsons Skateboarding, you would need to, first, play through all 10 levels as one character to unlock the 5 locked characters. Then, play through all 10 levels as each of those characters, including the ones that are already unlocked. That is 90 levels in total, the same 10 levels, 9 times over, with identical objectives and no meaningful variation. 90 levels, that is not a game, that's a sentence. Oh, and each character has their own skill progression system, so you're back at square one every time, starting from scratch. The same clunky controls with slightly different stats. It's not challenging, it's not varied, it's monotonous. It's monotonous in the way that makes you start noticing your own breathing. I would be lying if I said that I didn't enjoy some aspects of this game. There is something fun about just rolling around Springfield, spotting landmarks from the show, the Quickie Mart, Moe's Tavern, Springfield Elementary, but then you look at the character models. These horrifying, dead-eyed abominations. And any charm evaporates quickly. They look like wax museum dummies that have been told what happiness is, conceptually, but have never personally met it. If you told me these models were created by leaving a Simpsons DVD next to a microwave and pressing defrost, I'd believe you. The Simpsons has a distinct art style that's been pretty consistent for decades, and somehow this game has managed to take these iconic designs and turn them into the stuff of nightmares. It's actually impressive in the worst possible way. And those controls never stop being frustrating. You don't adapt. You just learn to tolerate them, like a low-grade headache that becomes part of your daily existence. So, here's where I've landed. I have deeply mixed feelings about the Simpsons Skateboarding. On one hand, if you embrace the jank, if you find joy in the absurdity of how broken and bizarre it is, there is something here. It's like watching a disaster movie. It's compelling in its awfulness. But there's a difference between it's so bad it's good game and just a bad game. The former is at least interesting in its failure. The Simpsons Skateboarding isn't interesting. It's tedious. The skateboarding genre had already been perfected by 2002. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2 came out in 2000, and it showed exactly how to do it right. The game learned nothing from those lessons. It's like releasing a new racing game 2 years after Gran Turismo, and it's just a picture of a car with a kazoo soundtrack. Would I recommend The Simpsons Skateboarding? Yes, if you're a masochist, if you collect terrible games, and if you want to experience gaming history's misfires firsthand, or if you have a YouTube channel where you suffer through bad games for content. And no. If you want to actually have fun, if you value your time, if you have literally any other skating game available to you, The Simpsons deserved better than this. And skateboardings deserved better than this. So, is The Simpsons Skateboarding really that bad? Yeah, it really is. But hey, at least I made it past the second level. Younger me would be so proud. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm gonna go and play literally anything else. Except that. Anything but that. Unless I get the definitive edition, which apparently actually fixes a lot of the problems. Okay, bye.